All right, when I say daze, you say summit. Daze.
Summit.
Daze.
Summit.
When I say don't stop, you say dreaming. Don't stop.
Dreaming.
Don't stop.
Dreaming.
So I had to start it off with that because we have two amazing panelists today with us. When I think of people that are out there following their dreams, they consistently check things off their bucket list. Not only do they do it, put themselves on, that's not even their priority. They're constantly putting other people on. Every time I go on their post, yo, what about this? Check this one out. Check this one out. Check. So like, to have these two ladies with you today is truly an honor. So let's welcome them, little Miss Chitchat, Halamaroc, to the Daze Summit. Make some noise. So we all got to start somewhere, right? So maybe we're all media creators. So I want to know what inspired you early on. Was there a show, station, personality that inspired you to get in the game?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'm a multimedia personality, and that doesn't mean that I'm always behind the mic. I also like to be known for connecting the dots and putting other people on and all of that. And so I can name a radio personality that I definitely was inspired by, like Angie Martinez or a Cherry Martinez even. I used to listen to her every night when she had the Lockdown Love thing. And I ended up working with these people. But I really found my passion being somebody more of like a Karen Civil, where it's like you connect the dots, you know how to brand something, you know how to bring it to light and make yourself purposeful in a room. And so yeah, I think that those are some good women to look out for.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. What about you?
For me, I feel like since I was young, people always told me like, oh my God, you're gonna be like a news reporter, you're gonna be like, something. And I feel like over the years, like I knew it was gonna be something, but I didn't know what it was. And I had like a real deep passion for music, and I was like, you know what? I want to help people like build their brands. I feel like I can put myself in anybody's shoes, and make them the best that they can be. So as far as like people that personally inspire me, like she said, Karen Civil is someone who I really feel like is an inspiration as far as to look up to. She's someone who I studied as far as what she did with like Young Money and stuff like that, and what she did with just a lot of branding and marketing thing, as well as also like her interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like she's definitely someone who was an inspiration. But when I first started my blog, I don't know if y'all remember like Nicole Bitchie and Perez Hilton. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I first got in the industry, I used to be an intern for like a publicist who had like Amber Rose, Jill Zarin from Housewives of New York, and I used to always have to send out these pitches to these blogs like Perez Hilton and Nicole Bitchie, and sometimes they wouldn't pick up what we was talking about, and it would annoy me. So I was like, you know what? I want to create my own blog so people could send like stuff to me, and I can see if I want to post about it. And that's how like me being a blogger really happened, to be honest.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you're being the change you want to see, and then there's so many goats that paved the way and inspired us. So with any game, right? We all hear about getting your foot in the door, right? How do we kind of get here? How do we get here? And I want to just shout out everyone here for taking the step, whether you're an artist or a fan or someone in the community, that just coming out, just to connect and just being brave enough to say, yo, this is what I do, this is who I am, and let's keep building, right? How did you get your foot in the door? Because you're both seasoned now. You've been doing it quite a while, even though you're both really young. But how did you get your foot in the door? Because that seems to be a mystery sometimes. Like, how do I get involved? How do I get started? How do I get connected with a Cherry Martinez or something like that?
So I started in college. I went to the College of Staten Island. I actually jumped around a little bit, but when I got to College of Staten Island, I got really excited because they had their own radio station. And it wasn't just the college radio station, but it's like the public access radio station for our borough. And so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get on this station. And I did the whole, I went through all the motions of getting on there. And then I was really fighting for hip hop because at the end of the day, it was like alternative rock station, but they let me do it. They let me, before me there was only one other hip hop show that was prominent on there, which is Emilio Sparks. And so them allowing me that space to do what I wanted to do, and like the people that I went to college with actually being interested because I was doing something that they were into, opposed to just whatever, you know, the standard was, really gave me the bug. I feel like that was really like when I was just like, okay, you could do this, like you're radio, this is what it is. And from there I interned everywhere, everywhere, and did everything that nobody wants to do. The overnights, the coffee, like all the nightmares of being an intern. But it was an amazing experience. I got to meet all the people that I needed to meet. Got to, you know, I pride myself on being somebody who kind of finds the back door, kicks it open, and then leaves it open for the next person. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's a lot of politics when you get up in the game. And they're not going to give little OU a chance. Like, they're just not going to do that, especially in New York City. So I realized that they allowed me to play the background, though, which was a really cool experience. I ran the boards, did the street team, did everything. Then I slowly, gradually moved up to doing like little voiceover work for Power 105 and Sirius XM. And then I'll do like they'll be like, oh, this little girl's funny, like let's put her on the show. Then I ended up being certain people's co-hosts and things like that. But it wasn't really like my big break until I got a call one day to move all the way down to little Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I was there for 6 months. I ended up having the #1 nighttime radio show there. They moved me up to a bigger market, which was Philly. I ended up doing nights there as well. And then I moved back to New York and kind of used everything that I had through that whole process to launch a digital marketing company so I could, like I said, leave the back door open for everybody else. It's like, oh, you're an artist, like now I know A, B, C, D, and F, G, you know, you can come here. And I still do that, and that's been a really cool experience because it's like, you know, as a creator, we create our solutions, and at some point I didn't have opportunities, so I had to literally create them. And in those moments, I also realized that us as creatives, like, don't really pay attention to self-care or mental health or ourselves at all. You know, it's at the very bottom of our to-do list because we're busy trying to make these headlines and get to the big picture and follow our dreams, which is great, but, you know, if you want longevity, it's definitely about your wellness. And so I launched something for us for that. So it's the Badass Bootcamp, and that's our motto is finding success through finding yourself, which is pretty much what I pride my journey on. So yeah.
Love it.
Can you repeat the question again?
Can
No, it's fine. You were great.
No, she took us on like
no, I love it.
a journey of hustle.
Yes, for real. I love
So, like getting your foot in the door. Like, how did you
Okay,
pick
so-
the door in, or how did you get your foot in the door?
So, like I spoke about the internship, to get that internship in the first place, I met this girl and she was like, oh, I told her I was popular on Instagram, because I've always been pretty popular on Instagram. I know a lot of people. So she's like, if you're so popular, can you get my dog 500 followers on Instagram over the weekend? And I was like, I think I can. And I actually did. I got her to 500 followers over the weekend, and she gave me the internship, and I was able to work with her, and that's when I created the blog. But in like 2016, 2017, I started seeing the rise of female rap. And I felt like there were no blogs covering female rappers. That's when like Asian dolls started coming out, the Rico Nasties, the Bally Babies, the Cuban dolls. And nobody was really talking about them, so I created that platform where there was somewhere like a home for them so we could talk about them. And that's where I, really started at, to be honest. And a lot of people know me for like, introducing a lot of people to female rappers. Like a lot of female rappers who are super, super big right now are people who, I have interviewed first, people who I have talked about first, I have set that stone for. So my platform is really a platform for like female rap and female in the industries and stuff like that. So I feel like that's where I really break the door down and kick the door down, is like creating opportunities for women in hip hop.
I love it. So awesome. So yeah, share. So there's so much work that even goes into the post, right? We all know, like I know so many music makers. How much work, how much time, how much money goes in to that song, and then it's posted, and then there's just so much noise happening. But maybe you could kind of talk about a day in the life for you, because we see the interview, we see the post, we see the list, of like the top female MCs in New York or whatever it is, what's a day in the life like for you? Because it can't be, there's so much more to just that.
Yeah, it's hard to even like answer that question because I think us as entrepreneurs and creatives, like we're literally built on the pivot. Like it's like, oh, I thought I was gonna be doing this. I'll plan my whole month, like my whole week, my whole day, to the T, to the minute. And then I'm a Capricorn, so I then do that. But then, like life will happen, you know, and then you have to just adapt, you know, and make yourself useful in every room you do end up in. So for the most part, right, these days, at my shop, I have a shop called the Badass Boot Camp, and it's in Staten Island, right off the ferry. Come see me. So I'm there like half of the week, and outside of that, I'm either in a studio writing music, or a studio doing voiceovers, or a studio doing podcasts, or a studio interviewing people, always in some sort of studio somewhere. And then outside of that, it's just being outside. It's like making sure that, you know, you're not out of sight, out of mind, and you're meeting the people that you need to meet, and making sure that you have access to the things that you want to curate at and do, and you know, and the dots that you want to connect. So just being outside is pretty much the rest of it. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, for me, I agree. I feel like every day could like kind of switch up depending. Like Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm recording my radio show, which is on Amped. So that I'm doing that. But other days, I work with artists as well. Like I manage 2 artists, Diamond King and Nate the Dancer. I also do like a lot of marketing things. So during the week, I'm working with like a lot of artists, but I'm also sometimes recording my show. It all depends. I don't really go out as much as far as like networking events. I probably could do that a little more. But I'm really definitely like working as far as like internet and stuff like that. I'm working with my artists, I'm moving around with them. I'm in the studio a lot too as far as recording with the artists, making sure that they got their music on point. But yeah, it's either at home working at the computer or really in the studio, like recording the chat room, the show where I interview artists, Chitchat radio, or you know, working with these artists and making sure they dropping good music.
That's so real. So they say teamwork makes the dream work. Yes, sir?
Can I ask a question?
We're gonna definitely open it.
Just to piggyback on what they
Yeah. Go for it.
Well, just to how you saying with the day, because I'm getting my feet wet with this content creating thing, and I realize I've spent a lot of hours like on CapCut editing.
That was my next thing, actually.
I want to know how much time do you all take on editing your content, so I know that I'm in the same realm or lane where I need to be.
I appreciate you. That was actually, you segmented it perfect. Because your name again? We'll see, right?
We'll see.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I was literally about to get into that. It's like there's no, I love it because we're on the same wavelength. But it's like there's so much that needs to be done, right? And there's only so much time. I was going to ask you, how important is it working with others, hiring others, delegating? Maybe share some gems with us.
Yeah. So this is going to kind of retract what I was saying before about being outside, but you have to definitely. I dedicate at least 2 days to just admin computer work. Like I can't do that while I'm running around. Me personally, like I'll end up with mad typos and edits that I don't like and whatever. Like I'm not multitasking in that way. I'm very intentional. So like my friends know if I send them this, that means this is what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing today. Don't ask me to go out. There's none of that happening. And that's like a whole different person. Like that's like if I don't have management or anything like that. So there's that version of me who has to be very like studious and serious. And then there's the person who's like, oh, we out, like, you know. So you have to just separate the two for one. And what you said is like, you know, being able to work with people is super important as a creative. Like you can't do everything by yourself. For one person that there is on the mic, there's 100 people behind them as a machine, you know, and I'm talking about at least for artists. And so, and I've played a lot of those roles, but I don't want to be me to edit my own stuff. I don't want to blog. I don't have the time to blog every day, you know what I mean? So How I did it is I recently launched a mentorship program. So I work with a lot of high school students and give them the opportunity. They get paid through their high school, so you don't have to pay for the labor, and they're getting the experience from you. So that's been working out really well. And they work out of the shop, so that's kind of like doubles as our office. And then outside of that, it's like you'll find that through your journey, there's people who are good at things that you're not good at. And so I'm very good at empowering people that are good at things that I'm not good at. If you feel like your passion is videography and editing, like please go for it. They can trust me and my brand to take them to the top, but you just do your part so that we can make it happen, and it will, and we all win. Because you definitely can't do it by yourself. 24 hours isn't enough. 7 days is not enough.
Thank you, Will. Of course, Ms. Chitchat.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like for me, it's been so hard. Like for so long, I've been doing everything by myself, like just being little Miss Chitchat, running the chat room all by myself. But over the past couple of years, I've had to learn that I have to delegate. I have to have interns. I have management now. You know what I mean? Because you can't do everything yourself, like she said. Like sometimes I will literally overwork myself. I will be at the computer from 6 a.m. to freaking 12 a.m. And it's just that's not really healthy every day. You know what I mean? So it's just it's very important. But I feel like it's important to find people who are on the same wavelength as you and the same mindset. Because I feel like a lot of people, they don't want to work, if that makes sense. When I was an intern, I was really putting in work. I was really out here doing stuff. And I feel like now these interns that are coming up, they just want stuff handed to them. They want to get paid. Not saying they shouldn't be paid, but I just feel like at a certain point, you know what I mean, you really have to put in a lot of work. And I feel like that work ethic is not there. So I feel like it's very important to find people who have the work ethic, the same mind state as you, so that it can be successful. Because if y'all not on the same wavelength, it's just gonna cause havoc, and you might as well do it by yourself. That's how I feel about a lot of things.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the question.
Can I also add, make sure that you create situations that are mutually beneficial for everybody. Sometimes it's not, no one wants to work for anybody. We're in the day and age of being entrepreneurs, all of us. Everyone wants to be independent, artists, this, that, not knowing what that really means. But find things that are mutually beneficial. For example, I own that shop, but I don't pay for anybody's labor, but they all work out of the shop. So now they have this platform to build their brand out of, and it works because it's such a big platform for all of us. You know what I mean? So just find ways to be mutually beneficial. It's how can I help you? You help me.
Right.
I love it. Yeah, you're just constantly connecting the dots, and just so proud of both of you. You both have your ears to the streets, right? You're talking about upcoming, you're interviewing people that are both seasoned and emerging. What do you look for when you're sharing content on the platform? How does someone get on your radar, right? How many artists do we have in the building here? Got 80%. So have you ever thought about that? How do I get on a Miss Chitchat's radar? How do I get on a Halamaroc interview? So what's a do and a don't? Why would you delete an email and why would you open one?
So for me, I get flooded. So my whole thing is just consistency. I get egged all day myself. You know what I mean? I literally send 100 emails a day and might get 3 responses myself. And that's just the name of the game. It is definitely a numbers game. But when I'm thinking of who should I include on the show or who should I bring as a guest, it's always the person that's top of mind. So let your work speak for itself. Just be consistent. Keep putting the stuff out. Keep sharing it. You know what I mean? Don't have no shame in your game. I might have not responded the first time. I might have maybe liked it the second time. I might have called you in to come through for the third time. And it's just a relationship that you build. Make yourself useful too. Don't just be what can you do for me, and it's just be oh, I'm gonna show. A lot of the times it was the intern that became the artist. We knew them from before they were an intern. So before they were an artist. So it always goes back to consistency, putting your best foot forward. A lot of people aren't doing that, so you'll be surprised how light the pond gets on that side of things. It's there's so much noise over here, and then here there's we're literally looking for people where is it? What's happening? So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the most important thing is to follow up, follow out, and follow through. Like, you feel me? Like, make sure you're following up with the person, but also make sure you're delivering quality. Like, you feel me? Make sure your music and stuff is up to par before you're reaching out to people. Also, make sure the approach is appropriate. Because sometimes some people will write me and it's just like, excuse you? Who you talking to? So that's another thing that people definitely have to be mindful of. Like, some people be like, oh, you better listen to my music. It's like, you know what I mean?
How do
It's
they
like,
do that? Through message or?
Instagram, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Just like, you know, so sometimes it's about the energy, but like she said, it's about building relationships. Because it's like, if I see every time I'm doing an interview, you commenting, you liking, you supporting me, you know, showing me love, and I'm showing you love, of course I'm gonna think of you to bring you on my show, right? You feel me? Because if you guys listen, go watch my interviews on the chat room. I got interviews with like Lola Brooke, Stunning Girl, Connie Diamond, all these people. They are people who I got stories with, you feel me, over the years, who we've been supporting each other. So it's like, those are the people, when I launched my show, that's who I went to do my interviews with. And that's, you know, it's all about building relationships. And now all these girls is going up. They bigger than me now. But, you know, it's just all about the relationship. I have good relationships with them. So I can call them and say, you want to come out here, da-da-da-da, you know? So it's just like, it's all about building relationships.
Absolutely love it. My goal whenever I meet someone is always, I always want to give first and then expect nothing back. And for me, that's just a way that I've been living life, and it's amazing.